Hey everyone, in this video what I wanted to show you was a quick way to kind of enhance the textures of your model when you're here in Marmoset Toolbag. So this is pretty much the finished character of one of my models that I have, so it's a complete finished asset for presentation. I already have my lights set up and all of that, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a cavity map and you're going to start seeing the difference on him. So let me bring those maps over here, and what we're gonna use is just the same ambient occlusion map. So right now I have a character with two different texture sets, and what I'm gonna put is, let's start with the skin, which is pretty much the face and these two arms. I'm going to throw the same ambient occlusion map into the cavity map. And you're gonna see that difference. Actually, let's get closer to the face so you can see that difference. So check it out. Of course, it does darken my skin a little bit, but one of the things that I like, and always uncheck use bitmaps, one of the things that I like is actually the fact that it delines, it creates a line around the eyes a little bit better and creates better shadowing underneath the nose and these places right here, and it kind of holds the figure a little bit better than if it was. Actually, if I see it without the cavity map, I think it's a little bit washed out. So I'm going to turn on the cavity map, but because it darkens my skin a little bit, what I want to do is just bring that down kind of like to 0.5. And I think this is a good sweet spot for this specific cavity map. Of course, 0.5 is not going to work on every single setting that you have. You'll have to test how much diffuse cavity you want to work with, and that'll give you something according to your model. So as you can see, I've kind of check it and uncheck again, just so you can see the difference. And the difference also very noticeable here around the hair. I think it brings the model a little bit more to life. And let's try it with the clothing. So I have my clothing texture set. I'm going to throw in the ambient occlusion map onto the cavity map. And as you can see, it got a little bit darker, but it also creates a little bit more definition in kind of like the zipper areas. So if I turn it off, you're going to see that the crevices are not as well demarked as they are with the cavity map. So actually, if I zoom out, it's also very noticeable on the pants. As you can see, this stitches right here, they kind of like have a little bit more depth just because of this cavity map. And I'm going to again reduce it, and I'm not going to use 0.5 because that's too little. But let's see another place where we can actually see what's going on. It's here in those glasses. Let me take off the depth of field. Alright, that's fine. And as you can see, it does, like around here, around these crevices, it gives a lot more depth just by adding that cavity map. And again, this is something simple. You just have to reuse your ambient occlusion and put it here. I know how to do this for Marmoset Toolbag. If you want to do it for other engines, I'm going to show you real quick how to do it in Photoshop. Alright, so one way I usually go about doing the texturing is by using the ambient occlusion as a base, and I'll show that in another video how I actually do the texturing. But for now, if you are not in Marmoset Toolbag, you're rendering in another engine like Unity. I know Unreal does have a node for the cavity map, which you can use. But if you don't want to use that, or like me, you haven't used it yet, you can still rely on other methods. Like what I'm going to do here, I'm actually going to bring my AO over here, and I'm just going to put it on top of my color map. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to multiply it and make sure that we just reduce a little bit of that opacity, because if we make it to 100%, you're going to see that it really darkens your face, and then you'll probably have to readjust the coloring of your base texture. But for this, I like to get a little bit closer just to see what I'm doing. And again, just maybe around 78 should define, and that's how I would add the cavity map, quote unquote, for other engines. So if you don't find how to do the cavity map, just like I did here in Marmoset Toolbag, and as you can see, he really changed once I apply that. You can always do that here in Photoshop, but you just apply the ambient occlusion on top of your final texture map, and that should do the trick. You can also do this in Substance Painter. If you don't have Photoshop, it's exactly the same deal. Just add it as another map and make sure that you are in the multiply blending node. The opacity will certainly depend on what kind of texture you have. Let's try it with the body texture. I'm actually going to throw in the ambient occlusion here, and let's do multiply and see what happens. Okay. As you can see, this one really helps out with the ambient occlusion around this area. So check it out. See, it does make a difference. And more specifically, in places where there's stitching, it does add a lot of depth to it. So this is a good way to enhance your textures whenever you want to use your ambient occlusion, or you can just use your cavity map here in Marmoset Toolbag. Alright, that is it for today, and I'll be back with more tips and tricks in another video.